Hi, Rhythm.
Hi, Shivani. Thanks for having me on the summit here. And it's very exciting to talk about ESSEC because I've already been here 2 years, getting into my third year. And it's very exciting. I think it was a very good choice for me, which I hope I'll be able to illustrate through our talk and what kind of things that I've done at ESSEC. So that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's like a great pleasure and it's quite great to have you as a speaker today. So, like enrolling in the Masters in Management program, it gives you like several, like two options, either to choose the France campus,
Right.
European campus, or the Asia Pacific campus. So, which one did you choose?
Right. So I went with the Europe campus. So right now I'm in Paris, Cergy, France. So I chose this because majorly for two reasons. Now, when I was deciding which campus to go for, first I wanted to understand how much that college is valued in that country. So ESSEC per se is a French school which has in Rabat as well, which is in Africa, as well as in
Okay.
Singapore. So they have three campuses now. And the thing is that I wanted to basically come to France because it is most valued here. First point.
Yeah.
Secondly, I actually wanted to work in the European market because I was very fascinated by it. I wanted to understand that country and how things work. So it's always better to be in a college which is closest to the industry, closest to the geographical sphere that you want to work in. So that's why I decided to come to France and choose the ESSEC campus. And also it's the base camp. So what happens
Yeah.
is a lot of things that they're already tried here, tested, it works, they've applied to other schools. So it gives you more options to engage in a lot of options that you can choose from, right? You have courses, you
Yeah.
have chairs, you have associations, and you have the company ties with the college, which kind of really help when you're at the base, at the main campus. So that was kind of my
True.
main choice to choose the European campus versus the Asia Pacific or Rabat.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And like given the worldwide ranking of ESSEC, like a top five, it ranks in the top five European schools, B schools for the MIM program. So how did you plan to draft your application to target such a top-notch school?
Right. So for me, I realized quite early on that I wanted to do an MIM because honestly, it was because of MIM-ESSAY website. It kind of gave me a huge insight into what is MIM versus MBA because coming from India and a lot of places, MIM is not as famous as an MBA, right? And I
Right.
always thought that doing an MBA required me to do 3 years, 4 years work ex, which I was not ready to do because I already knew that this is not the country or the place I want to be. So honestly, I
Yeah.
did a lot of online research, and one of them was MIMSA.com, and it gave me a huge insight into what MIM is. What is Masters in Management, and that
Right.
kind of aligned with my goals, what I wanted to do. So that was my first step, understanding what course I wanted to do. After understanding what course I wanted to do, I did like just generally did a Google search, did an FT
Right.
ranking, and understood which are the top five schools.
Yeah.
After that, what I did is I actually went to the college websites and understood what do they have to offer, whether is it just very academic based, or is it a wholesome, is it a holistic approach, what is it exactly. So in my research I understood that ESSEC as a school offers you a holistic approach, whether it is education, whether it is job opportunities, whether it is clubs, associations. They have something called chairs, which is very unique
Yeah.
to ESSEC. That is something that everybody should explore. So these were very unique features of ESSEC that kind of attracted me towards it, and that made me kind of choose ESSEC in the top five brand. So I was
Right.
very clear. I applied to ESSEC in the first round itself, and sort of my plan was to go and see and try the dream school first, and if I don't get into it, then try a competitive school or a safe school per se. So then, but as soon as I had an admit for ESSEC, I knew this is where I wanted to go.
Yeah. But like considering the main aspects, like the crux of the application, what specific key points did you latch onto to enhance your application?
So to enhance my application, again, after understanding through MIMSA.com, I also realized that they have the consulting program, and that's where I joined MIMSA, and they helped me with my profile because I knew I had the good points. But what really you need while you're doing an application is to highlight the good points, right? Like you may have the world of experience, but if you don't know how to put it well in a paper, it's never going to translate to the school or who's going to take your admissions, right? So for me, that direction was very important, even though I'm a content writer myself. However, application is a completely different ballgame. You don't know what schools are looking for. They don't know what are the keywords. They don't know what exactly they're looking for. So they're looking for experience, but how should you really talk about your experience? So that is the kind of direction which you need from experts, right? For everything in life, we go for experts. Things we can't do ourselves. So that's when I decided to do for MiM-ESSAY. Now, things that I needed to highlight was, of course, work experience, my good scores, academic scores, but also extracurriculars. So extracurriculars show the school not only that you were an interesting person or you had more skills, but it also highlights your soft skills. Your work experience and your education highlights your hard skills. Okay, I have done this course, I have done that course, I can do this. But your extracurriculars highlight your soft skills, your leadership, your teamwork, your ability to work in a difficult situation, your ability to think on your feet, come up with new solutions. That is more highlighted through your work experience, which I actually understood while I was in an application process through MiM-ESSAY, right? When I had my consultant conversation and I realized, oh yes, I can highlight this, I can highlight that. So that kind of balance is very important, and it should be very holistic, as I said. Your application also cannot be only education centric or only work centric. It has to be both. It has to be education, work as well as extracurriculars. And on the side, if you have any other skill set, like if you're like good in sports, arts, because honestly, schools are looking for everything these days. It's not just somebody who's the top scorer in class, and that's not cutting it out for them. Even when I come here, I see my cohort and I see the batch, I see people have an array of things that they have done in their life, and that's a kind of application that schools are looking for right now.
Okay. And like ESSEC is also known to provide like great career service and support to its students and like graduates. So how is your experience? How do you see it?
So something very interesting at ESSEC you have is called the career fairs, and the career fairs are also divided by the department that you want to work in. So you have fair just for law, then you have fair for banking and insurance, you have fairs for finance, marketing, consulting, right? So it's very niche, and you have very top-notch companies coming to campus, which you do not get access to through a lot of schools. So that is very interesting aspect, where you get to connect with a lot of good companies, and since they're coming to ESSEC, they already know what kind of level of students they're expecting. Second aspect is the career support that you get from college. So right from CV editing to interviewing help to how to connect with the companies, you have a dedicated career cell for that. So that's interesting. Then you have the third aspect, which is called the portal online, where you can apply to jobs. So what's so interesting about this portal is that you not only have access to jobs which are open to general public, but there are very specific jobs opening which are only for ESSEC students, which ESSEC has tie-ups with a lot of companies, and those offers are only for ESSEC students. So that already kind of puts you at a pedestal and gives you an opportunity to apply to jobs which others don't even have access to, right? So, and obviously with a company, with a brand name like ESSEC, job scenario becomes a lot more easy. Your CV gets a foot in the door approach, where you're already, somewhere you already have an edge over the other students.
Yeah, like to break through in the competitive pool. So a brand name always plays a role.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Okay. And like in which specific fields, like post MIM students usually seek career opportunities, since like you're in your final year, so like you would be knowing better. So like your cohort, your friends, your circle, in which fields on the majority they prefer to build their careers in?
So majority of the people go for the conventional goals, which are either in the finance field, in the marketing field, consulting field, right? So these are the main groups that people go in. But there are also students who go for strategy and very niche, like fintech or technical or digital. very core digital.
Okay.
So these are the smaller chunks, but the higher chunks are finance, consulting, and marketing. And as I said, at ESSEC, you have an opportunity to do anything you want, right? We do not have as many entrepreneurs, obviously, as people going for jobs, but you have an opportunity to choose a path for any field that you want.
Yeah, and like coming to the entrepreneurial alumni network of ESSEC, so it says that around there are like 50,000 graduate network of just MIM dispersed around like different nationalities and countries. So how would you say that students can benefit and leverage the alumni network of ESSEC?
Okay, so ESSEC has this very interesting quality where on the portal you have access to information of every alumni that has ever been of ESSEC, dating from like as old as possible to as new as us. So you have all the data information available. You can go access it as an ESSEC student and see which alumni you want to connect with. The alumni of ESSEC are very helpful, very understanding. You can always cold mail them, etc. So these are a lot of informal ways that you can connect with your alumni. Formal ways are ESSEC organizes a lot of alumni connect events where the alumni actually come down to college. They tell you about what career paths you can choose. If you have any questions, you can book appointments with them and have a one-to-one session. They help you with interview. They even take mock interviews to help you with how to really work in the French arena. And they organize a lot of after work events, a lot of connecting events. A lot of alumni come back to school because they're so connected with it, with job opportunities, with representatives of their companies, and tell them how you can pave your path in those companies. So the alumni base is very strong at that.
Okay, right. And like you shared a bit about the career fair. So can you tell us something more about the recruitment events and like interview and CV workshops and how it would benefit the international applicants, online job portal, everything?
Yes. So as I said, you have career fairs which are very specific to what kind of jobs you want. So you have consulting fair, banking and insurance, finance, marketing, consulting, law, etc. So you have a lot of career fairs which are very specific to the kind of jobs you want. And then you have the top 20 companies coming down, whether it's luxury, tech, finance, all these kind of companies coming for those roles. So that's a very good way to connect with these companies, understand what they want, tell them what you have, right? Both aspects. Then you also have the opportunity of the career cell at ESSEC, where they will help you review your CV. They will help you with your what you can add, what you should subtract. They can help you with your interviews. Then you have the Alumni Connect, where they actually take mock interviews. They have Alumni Connect, where you can connect with these people afterwards, which are organized. So it's a very holistic. It's as I said, there are a lot of resources which are available at ESSEC. It all depends on you how you utilize them.
Yeah, okay. And can you tell us, share a bit more on the international exposure? There's a thing you get the opportunity to gain around 6 months of international experience through ESSEC, either through the multi-campus or the exchange program. So can you please go in more depth into it?
Yeah, so at ESSEC, in order to graduate, you need to do certain validations. One of which is that you need to have 18 months of work experience after coming to ESSEC. And if you already have work experience, you can get that validated. And you need to have 6 months of international experience. Now, for international students, when you come to ESSEC, those 6 months are already taken care of because you're from another country and you are coming to Paris or Europe or Singapore or Rabat. So that 6 months already gets taken care of. However, for a lot of European students who are in the EU but out of France, they have to definitely do an exchange program. Right, so 6 months is a compulsory international exposure that you need to do in order to graduate, and you have an array of options. You can either do a semester abroad, which is you can study abroad. You can do a double degree with a lot of partner colleges, or you can even do an internship abroad, which also counts as a 6 month abroad experience. So
So I'm sure like all this helps like students add a lot to the groundwork.
of course, yes, definitely. Uh, uh, you have to obviously portray your profile in a way that you get selected for these things, but you have a lot of
Yeah,
options. And for a personal development point of view, it is very interesting to be part of the school where it kind of almost forces you to have an international experience, to have a work experience, to have these courses in order to graduate.
yeah. And like coming to the aspect of student life, so how would you describe the overall student life on and off campus at ESSEC?
So you have a lot of things to do at ESSEC, like not only just to advance your job profile, but also your personality, personal goals, etc. So you have a lot of clubs, you have a lot of associations, you have clubs like debate club, which are more like towards the academic, but you have associations like the flying club where you're doing skydiving, or you have the
Yeah,
trek club where students are going on trekking, you have running groups, etc. So it honestly doesn't end at studies. It's a lot more personal development in that aspect. I'm part of something called the ESSEC India, which is very cultural and
okay.
very interesting. And you have something called ESSEC China, you have ESSEC Japan, and only if you're even interested in these cultures you can join. You don't need to be a native of that country. So that's very
Yeah,
holistic. That's such a new learning, and you get to be a part of a community. Then you have also something called chairs, which is very interesting about ESSEC,
yeah,
where the college has collaborated with a lot of companies. So with like L'Oreal, LVMH, BNP, a lot of other brands like that, PNG, and they have come up with this study work scenario where you understand about the industry and also you're studying at the same time. So that is something that anybody who's coming to it or making a choice to be at ESSEC should factor in, that this kind of interesting chair application is not there in other schools.
yeah. And like rhythm, since like now we are nearing the end of our session, so like how good you would you say that ESSEC is a good choice for international students?
I would say it's a very, very good choice if you want to come to ESSEC and you are really interested in masters in management. Um, uh, just very technically, it's in the top five schools, so that already puts you at a very high pedestal when you're applying to companies, etc. When it comes to the student life at ESSEC, it's very interesting because you have a lot of international people to interact with. You have a lot
Okay.
of, you have even like music clubs and dancing clubs, and like there is a club on tap dancing, right? And then you have a lot of indoor activities. You have indoor gyms, you have football, basketball, you have rowing, you have cheerleading, you have
Yeah.
everything that you could ask for. You have a huge campus to enjoy your student life with, and it's very interesting that you can go on multiple campuses, you can do exchange, you can do double degrees, you can be a part of chair. So holistically it's a very good decision to take ESSEC because you have so many options to choose from. You can tailor make it for yourself. So
Yeah.
I would say ESSEC is a very
Okay.
good choice if you want to apply for it.
Okay. And like just one last thing, like any specific tips for international students to break through the competition and make it through ESSEC so that they can give their best shot at once?
So ESSEC really values, of course, it values your hard skills, but it values your soft skills as well. So especially in applications, focus and talk about what soft skills did you bring? Did you bring leadership, teamwork? Did you bring initiative taking? Did you come up with new ideas? Do you have an entrepreneurial spirit? And if you think you lack these things, I would suggest that you utilize this time to work on these skills. And also it's very important to have a well-rounded application, meaning you should have some kind of NGO work, some kind of extracurriculars, some kind of personal hobbies that you like to explore, some good work experience. Even in studies, you should have that kind of dedication to give, right? So it should be a holistic application if you want to go for a top-notch B school.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we have had a quite a good perspective on the student life, career, job search specifically. So we have everything in detail. So Rhythm, I guess we have gained such great insights from you and into the MIM-SX program and especially on the career front. So I'm sure your words will surely help like all the international applicants to take their master's studies. Yeah, so thank you very much for your valuable time and making time for this talk.
Thank you so much, Shivani.